The Earth is a vast, revolving cemetery of giants. Every field, every jagged cliffside, and every remote desert holds the potential to shatter everything we think we know about history. We often believe we have mastered the narrative of our planet, yet every new fossil found is a rewrite of the script. The past is not a static thing. It is an evolving truth that shifts with every strike of a paleontologist's hammer. These discoveries reveal unknown ecosystems and predators that once commanded the world with an authority we can scarcely imagine. Think of the vast plains of North America 150 million years ago. The air is thick, the vegetation is lush, and the ground vibrates with the rhythmic thrum of something massive. This was the era of the Diplodocus, a creature that redefined the meaning of scale. With a neck that stretched toward the horizon and a tail that acted as a whip, it moved with a surprising, fluid grace. It was a titan of the late Jurassic, living in herds that moved like slow, living mountains across the prehistoric landscape. The Diplodocus did not need to be violent to be powerful. Its strength lay in its sheer presence and its ability to strip the world of its green bounty. It possessed peg-like teeth designed not for the gore of a kill, but for the systematic harvesting of plants. It did not chew its food, it simply gathered, letting the slow fire of digestion fuel its enormous frame. When its remains were first pulled from the earth in the 19th century, it changed our perception of life forever. It transformed fragmented, broken bones into a symbol of a lost world, one where size was the ultimate defense. But where there are giants who graze, there are monsters who hunt. In the ancient reaches of Patagonia, a different kind of power ruled the southern lands. This was the domain of the Maposaurus, a predator that understood the cold mathematics of the kill. Unlike many of its solitary cousins, the Maposaurus was found in fossil groupings that suggest a chilling reality. They may have been social killers, moving in coordinated packs to bring down prey that no single animal could ever hope to conquer. Imagine the sight of a pack of Maposaurus tracking a massive Argentinosaurus. They did not rely on brute strength alone, but on strategy, agility, and the relentless pressure of the group. These theropods were the architects of a brutal survival strategy, reshaping our understanding of how carnivores functioned. They proved that even in a world of giants, intelligence and cooperation could topple the tallest titans.
Wow.
It is a reminder that the laws of nature favor the adaptable, those who can turn a solitary struggle into a collective victory. Nature, however, is not always a story of the hunter and the hunted. Sometimes, the greatest conflict is found between equals. One of the most haunting discoveries in the history of paleontology is a frozen moment of struggle between two Columbian mammoths. These were not animals caught in a predator's jaws, but two titans locked in a battle for dominance. Their tusks were found intertwined, a permanent knot of bone that became their shared grave. What began as a display of strength, a contest to determine who would lead and who would follow, became a fatal trap. In their fury to win, they lost everything, as their massive tusks snagged and refused to let go. They died as they lived, fighting for a status that neither would ever enjoy. This discovery provides a rare, dramatic window into the social pressures of the Ice Age. It shows us that ego and the drive for power are not exclusive to humans. They are primal forces that can lead to the downfall of even the mightiest beings. In the humid, shadowed forests of Jurassic China, another player moved through the undergrowth. The Monolophosaurus was a predator built for the shadows, distinguished by a singular, striking crest atop its skull. This was an agile hunter, a strategic thinker that likely relied on the art of the ambush. It did not need to be the largest creature in the forest to be the most dangerous. It was a master of its environment, waiting for the perfect moment to strike with surgical precision. The crest of the Monolophosaurus, however, suggests something more than just physical prowess. It was a tool for communication, a visual signal to others of its kind. This tells us that dinosaurs were not merely mindless eating machines, but socially complex animals with their own languages and hierarchies. They signaled their strength, their maturity, and their presence through these ornate structures. It is a testament to the fact that survival in the wild is as much about being seen as it is about being hidden. Further west, long before the Sahara became a wasteland of shifting sand, the land was a paradise of river systems. In this lush world lived the Ouranosaurus, a grazer that looked like nothing else on Earth. Its most striking feature was a high, sail-like structure running along its spine. Scientists still debate the purpose of this sail, wondering if it was a radiator for temperature control or a billboard for display. Whatever its function, it allowed the Ouranosaurus to thrive in a world that was constantly changing. The story of the Ouranosaurus is a story of adaptation. As the continents shifted and the climates began to dry, these animals had to navigate an environment in flux. They were versatile, capable of moving on 2 legs or 4, eating what the land provided. Their existence reminds us that the Earth is never finished with its transformations. What is a river today may be a desert tomorrow, and only those with the ability to evolve will find a way to endure. Even the most frozen corners of our modern world were once teeming with life. Today, Antarctica is a white desert, but millions of years ago, it was a forested realm of seasonal light and darkness. Ruling this strange, southern forest was the Cryolophosaurus, the frozen crested lizard. It was a dominant predator, sporting an unusual transverse crest that sat like a crown upon its head. It survived in a world where the sun disappeared for months at a time, proving that life finds a way to flourish in the most extreme conditions. The Cryolophosaurus is a symbol of the Earth's radical history. It stands as proof that the climates we take for granted are merely a temporary state of affairs. To see a predator of that magnitude once roaming a green Antarctica is to realize how small our current perspective truly is. The planet has breathed through countless cycles of ice and fire, and the ecosystems of today are but a brief chapter in a very long book. Then there are those icons we think we know, only to realize we were wrong for decades. The Stegosaurus is perhaps the most famous example of how our understanding must evolve. When its bones were first found, we struggled to piece together its anatomy, creating a monster that existed only in our imaginations. But as more fossils emerged, the true Stegosaurus was revealed. It was a slow-moving, heavily armored herbivore, built for grazing low to the ground and defending itself with a deadly, spiked tail. The evolution of the Stegosaurus in the human mind reflects the process of science itself. We start with fragments, we make mistakes, and we slowly correct our vision. It is a reminder that we must remain humble in the face of the unknown. Just because we have a name for something does not mean we fully understand its nature. The plates of the Stegosaurus, once thought to be armor, may have been for display or heat regulation, proving that even the most famous animals still hold secrets. As we look back at these narratives of peaceful giants, social predators, and frozen battles, we see that fossils are far more than just old bones. They are the ink with which the history of life is written. Each discovery fills a gap in our knowledge, challenging what we thought was certain and deepening our respect for the resilience of life. The story of our planet is a masterpiece that is still being composed, with the vast majority of its pages still buried beneath the soil.
It appears to be some form of armor, perhaps on the back, perhaps...
There is a weight to this realization, a cold and controlled truth that we must accept. We are not the masters of this world, but merely its current tenants. The giants that came before us were powerful, sophisticated, and seemingly invincible, yet the earth reclaimed them all. Their lives were governed by the harsh, beautiful laws of nature, where every meal was earned and every day was a victory of survival. What can we learn from these echoes of the past? Perhaps the most important lesson is that of perspective. We often consume our days with trivialities, forgetting that we live on a planet that has seen empires of bone and scales rise and fall over millions of years. Like the two mammoths locked in their fatal struggle, we often find ourselves trapped in conflicts of our own making, unable to see that our pride may be our undoing. The animals of the prehistoric world did not have the luxury of overthinking. They lived with a pure, singular focus on the present. They adapted to shifting climates, defended their territories, and protected their kin with an instinctual clarity we have long since lost. We should look to them not just as curiosities, but as teachers of what it means to truly belong to the earth. They remind us that to survive, one must be both strong and flexible, both a fierce individual and a cooperative member of the pack. The history of the Earth is a story of endurance, and you are a part of that story. Do not let your own narrative be one of stagnation. Like the Diplodocus, find your grace in your strength. Like the Maposaurus, understand the power of your community. And like the Stegosaurus, never be afraid to let your true form be revealed, even if it takes time for the world to understand you. I want to thank you for joining me on this journey through the deep reaches of time. If these stories of the ancient world moved you, or if they made you see the landscape in a new light, please consider subscribing to the channel. We have many more secrets to uncover, many more giants to meet, and many more lessons to learn from the shadows of the past. Your support allows us to keep digging, to keep searching for the truths that the Earth has hidden away.
The dorsal plates must lie flat, and the tail was definitely dragged along the ground. There is no way it could lift that tail.